I've had friends want to visit the city, but then be like, I'm kind of scared. And I'm like, why? What? And they're like, I heard New York is scary. And I'm like, what do you mean? What kind of scary? And they're like, there's a lot of crime. You know what? Keep thinking that so fewer people come here. Please. Please, keep thinking that. I'm gonna go outside and start throwing shit. I'm just gonna throw shit and be like, oh, and like act up and pretend I'm on fence. So people are just like, well, can't come here, you know? Surprise, surprise, cities have crimes. It's not just cities, too. There are crimes in towns and things. The important part is number of crimes per person, right? And like per area, too. The people will draw a circle and they'll be like, oh, so much crime in this city. But then they draw a circle that's so huge, so huge. You know how big New York City is? You know how many people there are? Do you know the population? NYC population. Mid-2024, 8.48 million. 8.5 million. 8.5 million. Countries with population near 8 million. It's like the number of people in Sweden. Here, let me scroll. We got a world population chart. Switzerland has slightly more people. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. You said you wish... You're like, I wish that there was more crime in New York, because then you wish people would stay out of Bushwick, the college students. I know. I think the hard part for me is my old neighborhood. It's always been a mix of really bad and getting gentrified and really bad. And they try to gentrify it and then it doesn't stick because people are afraid. And so we're always kind of like on edge, like, oh, is this finally gonna happen? Like, is it working? And I've lived in a lot of different spots, and I've seen some where I lived in like a really shitty location, that building get replaced with something crazy, and then there are others that are just like just as shitty, you know. So I moved around quite a bit, but still, I don't know. There are ones where I definitely spent more time, even if I moved. Like I was able to go there and hang out. So there's certain spots that feel like one in particular for me that's definitely like that. That was my neighborhood for sure. It's still shit. It's still shit. And you know the joke? You know the joke where people are like, oh, you go outside and pop a few gunshots and then like, you know, keeps the rent down. People don't want to live there. It's not a joke there. Like I legitimately know people that they see like there's one nice building on the edge of town. Like it's one town over, but it like overlooks the, you know, the part of the town that's not so nice. They wouldn't necessarily pop gunshots, but they would start sitting outside and loitering around in the street and just like milling about and like mean mugging whenever someone would be like obviously touring the buildings over there. and they just like do that ghoulish ghostly look and like look up and stare in the windows. And then those people would leave. And I was hanging out one day and I saw them doing that, and I was like, no way you guys are doing that to the new people. They were like, oh yeah, we just keep looking at the windows because we figure if we keep staring, they're gonna get real uncomfortable. I was like, that's fucked. Yeah, a little crackhead shuffle, a little something. So funny. So funny. My God. And it works. And, you know, obviously they don't want to like go out there and pop gunshots just to keep the rent down. That's kind of crazy, but there are other ways you can make it look a little, you know. I do think they are too gatekeepy though sometimes. Like, you know, they'll be at the corner store kind of thing, and someone will walk in who's like, you know, new to the neighborhood and in the nice building, and they'll all just like not talk to the person. And I'm like, okay. But I know what they're doing. They just really want to protect, you know, their place. So I don't blame them. I don't blame them. And if I was living in that spot, I'd probably do the same thing, honestly. I don't know. Gotta do what you can to have your own slice. No one wants to get pushed out. No one wants to get pushed out. And like, where do you even go after a certain point? You know, like, it's one thing to get pushed out to neighborhoods that are further and further from where you want to work. And it's one thing to get pushed into quote unquote worse neighborhoods. But after a certain point, there's nothing left. And it's like, what, do you move to a new city? Fucking what, go to Philly? Like, which I know people that have done that. So it's tough. It's tough. Pull out the old reliable fuck you looking at. Yeah. Fuck you looking at. Or my favorite, they look at you and ask like a question. You look them in the eyes and then look away. So you're purposefully ignoring them and they know that. And then they're like, the people here don't like me. And then they go back to the suburbs. That one always works. You make it obvious it's on purpose. Yeah, it's happening in San Francisco. Yeah. There aren't a lot of natives. You know, New York is filled with people that are and are not natives. You know, it's kind of the nature of the city that a lot of people immigrate in. But the thing is, like, a lot of people move in that don't know how cities work. They don't understand, and this is the case with every city, but you get people moving in that don't understand how to live amongst a lot of people in an area that's dense, high population, and they end up having small daily habits, doing little things that just slow everything down and get in everyone's way because they don't understand how to live in density, you know? And that genuinely is so frustrating. So when someone from a city is like mean to you because you like made a simple mistake, it's because, you know, when there are a lot of people doing these little things that gunk things up, it genuinely makes life so much harder for everyone, you know? Yeah, they complain about noise. They're like, oh, are those sirens always sounding? And you're like, yeah, do you want to not have EMS? Like, what do you... Yeah, yes. Or they're like, oh, you know, I just wish I could live on a higher floor to be away from all this street noise. And you're like, okay, well... Go live in Manhattan and go get something on the 20th floor and spend $1 million. I don't know what to tell you, but they sit there and complain about it every day. You're like, don't live in a city, you know. You need to learn how to live in a city. I don't think it's that hard. I don't think it's that hard. But you just have to be there for a bit and adjust. But there are people that just don't adjust. I think it's the big thing is disrespecting communal stuff and just getting in people's way all the time, not moving out of the way and. You know, yeah, not being self-aware, not being a part of their environment, you know, like they don't see themselves as part of the city and part of the whole. They see themselves as a person and everything else is just around them or they're just in it. And then when something bad happens, like it's never their fault. It's this place. You know what I mean? And I'm like, what if that's naturally how a dense place is? you know, but it's hard. It's just a very, you know, I think people that are used to cities very much understand the world doesn't revolve around them. They're part of the whole. And then if someone moves in that doesn't have that mindset, you know, that could be really annoying to deal with in a lot of different ways. I don't know. What can you do? What can you do? Be mean to them? I mean, you know. be mean or try to kindly tell them that the world doesn't revolve around them and then they never take that well. It's tough. There's no solution. I think, yeah, blocking the sidewalks is the most annoying thing, or blocking a store entrance is a big one that you see a lot of tourists doing or whatever. They're like people in a restaurant waiting for a table. In the city, you go up to the host stand, you say, you know, I got 2, I got 3, I got 4, whatever. And they go, okay, here's your wait. And you go, okay. They put you on a list or whatever. You should stand outside and get as close to the wall as possible so you're not blocking the sidewalk and you're not blocking the entrance. But I know so many tourists will just like, and not just tourists, people that like aren't used to a city, they'll walk in that entrance, they'll get put on the host stand, you know, the little list, and they'll be like, okay, and then they just loiter in the doorway. It makes that all the people going in and out naturally can't move now. Also, a lot of restaurant staff have to go out the front door and open a cellar door in the front on the sidewalk to get down to their cellar for their fridges and all the kitchen stuff. Sometimes they have secondary kitchens downstairs, you know? And they, in like Queens of Brooklyn, a lot of the time, those are in the front. So the kitchen staff need that doorway, like, clear, you know? Because they're carrying, like, a big tray of chopped vegetables that they just prepped downstairs, and they're bringing it to the back kitchen upstairs, you know? Is very normal. Happens all the time. And they don't always have a back door to do it at, or they'd have to walk around the side of the block to get there. So they just go in the front, you know? Just go in the front. And then I'll see someone standing in the doorway, and a guy will be like, excuse me. He's holding a tray of chopped broccoli. Excuse me. And the person will go, oh, why are they carrying that here? And then they like try to stand out of the way, but instead of getting out of the door, they like just try to pretend they're smaller than they are and get up against the side of the wall. And I'm like, oh my God, this scene has happened in front of me like 1,000 times, probably more. And it's so frustrating to watch every time. And I'm like, they're not aware of like the second prep kitchen downstairs thing being really common. So they're like, why is this man holding a tray of vegetables? And they're just like stunned by the sight because it's a weird little thing they weren't expecting. And then they just stare. They like, That's the other thing. I think when you're in a city or a dense area for most of your life, you learn very quickly, even if you don't know what's going on, quickly become not a nuisance, right? So if something happens in front of you that's a little weird, a little surreal, and you're like, what's that? You'll still just move out of the way. Your body will still move. But a lot of people that aren't used to that density will see something, get stunned, and then just like fucking not move. They just like actually freeze, and they're not aware of themselves like physically and how they're affecting the space. And they want to ask questions first. And I'm like, move first, you know? Move first. But I think that's, you don't really get that sense unless you live in density, right? Of like how much you're fucking it up. In the Navy, you learn to move to the side when someone's shouting to make a hole. Yeah, right. Like that's what I mean by living in density too. It doesn't have to be in a city, right? If you just live in any density in any space, you're on a ship, for example, right? You're in barracks, you're living in barracks with other people. You don't have much space and there's one little walkway in the middle, you know, all this kind of stuff. Like you just kind of develop that awareness, you know? I don't know. I wish everyone went through a boot camp to learn this stuff. I wish they would. Baffles you when tourists deadass stop in the middle of the sidewalk. They always do it too. They always do it. I don't know. That one is like, or they want to take a picture. That's the thing. Back in my day, way back when, I feel like people didn't really stop to take pictures as much because they didn't all have a phone, and not everyone would take a picture of every little thing. But you know, last like, God, how long has it been? Last 15 years, people all stopped to take photos of everything. So it used to be that people would slow down a little to like look at a map because they didn't have Google Maps. They'd be slowing down to look at a map to figure out where they were. And it was a little annoying, but like, you know, they weren't like glued to a screen. They were looking at the map, they were looking up a lot at street signs, etc. So it's like easier to like nudge past them. But nowadays they hold a device in front of their face and they look up. They're taking a picture of a building usually or something, right? And they're like so locked in on the rectangle in front of them that they completely lose the world around them. And like, it's just different than it used to be, you know? Like people would, you could at least get through to them and they wouldn't immediately become angry. But now when people are like using their phone, they're trying to get a picture, whatever. If you're like, excuse me, and you're pushing past, they're like, oh, I'm taking a picture. Like, you're supposed to care, you know? like they didn't get like that before. They would be like, oh, sorry, I'm in your way with the map at least. And they'd like move over. But with the picture thing, they care about their angle, you know? That shit has become so prevalent. And that's, you know, it wasn't as much of a problem like 15 years ago. But now it's fucking everybody. It's fucking everyone. The MEWC is ongoing. The Microsoft Excel World Championships. I legit thought about it. I legitimately thought about it. And I was like, I don't think I want to spend time on stream grinding this. But, brother, I was thinking about it heavily.